Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you're tuning in from. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, Crypto Assets, and Interviews. It's Thursday, May 25th. Going to get started with the live stream here momentarily. We'll give it another 30 seconds or so for people to join us. I see we have quite a few people with us on the live stream already. If you could smash like, I would appreciate it. We'll get started here. Just sit tight. We'll get started in about 15 seconds. All right, welcome to the live stream, everybody. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, Crypto Assets, and Interviews. Today is Thursday. It's May 25th. Hope you're well. I see we have quite a few people joining us. Welcome to the live stream. If you could smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Going to jump into today's content and live stream. It was a brutal day. Just kind of echoing some of the comments here in the live stream. A brutal day for MJ, obviously. That is an understatement. But I do want to just, remind everybody that, times are tough, but eventually there'll come a time where, we'll come out of this bear market and we'll enter a new bull market. It's just the way the market works, right? We can't have volatility to the upside. We can't have volatility to the upside without the downside. We can't have downside without the upside, right? So we should embrace the volatility. That's what we're here for. We're here for life-changing, generational wealth. And you can't have that generational wealth without buying opportunities, right? And when things drop 90 to 99%, that's when the real opportunity presents itself. Just like when we're entering a recession, everybody thinks that, this is doom and gloom, this is the worst thing ever. But recessionary periods allow for great opportunity, right? That's usually where, generational wealth is made. So in today's live stream, I'm going to be discussing CGC. Who would have thought Canopy Growth, granddaddy Canopy, would be at risk of a reverse split? And if now more than ever is not a time where people haven't realized that this is an industry problem. This isn't a one or two company problem. This isn't a Canadian problem. This isn't an American problem. Well, it's mostly a Canadian problem because the United States, the names in the US aren't uplisted to the NYSE and the NASDAQ yet, so there is no minimum bid price rule. But eventually they'll get there. And they'll have their time in the, they'll have their time to, potentially come up with the same problem. But right now, it's mostly Canadian, but it's not just one company, one or two companies. It's multiple companies. It's not just, producers, it's retailers. ETFs are struggling as well. Everything's down 80 to 90%. Even the poster childs, even the MSO gang is nowhere to be found, right? Everybody a year ago, after February 2021, when MJ stocks started to go bust, everybody said that, MSOs are the only thing worth owning, right? Multi-state operators, the US producers. And they're nowhere to be found, right? And that's because things are down 80 to 90%. So they're finally realizing, those people that were, shouting from the rooftop saying that Canadian LPs are garbage, the only thing worth owning is US operators. Where are they now, right? It's because they know that the industry is moving together. It doesn't matter if they're profitable, unprofitable, producers, LPs, MSOs, retailers, ETFs, everything's down 80 to 90% plus. And this is just the par for the course right now. And Canopy Growth, no one would have thought this would come. I personally didn't think it would come either, but now we are under $1 USD. And a reverse split appears to be imminent and inevitable at this point, with no end in sight here, especially with the video that I just did on Tilray, which I'll bring up here in just a second. But there was also a securities fraud lawsuit that was brought against Canopy, and I mentioned to private Power Group members, shout out to Alicia for bringing this up a couple of days ago, but if you were part of the Power Group private community, you would know that this lawsuit was filed a couple of days ago. And I said last night in the Power Group private community that I expected Canopy Growth would more than likely lose $1 psychological today. And we did. and stock was down about 17%. So it is rough. It's rough out there. I definitely empathize with everybody, sympathize, whatever the word you want to use. It is what it is, but this isn't the first time I've experienced this. I've experienced this in crypto. I've experienced this multiple times now in MJ. And like I said, it's just par for the course. And we can, sit here and we can lament and we can blame other people, or we can take responsibility for what we're doing and what we're investing in. And the fact of the matter is if you're in MJ, if you're in crypto, you're in the two most riskiest asset classes on the planet. So most people can't stomach a 90% drawdown, right? And the way I stomach a 90% drawdown is by having cash on the side, dollar cost averaging, knowing that I'm not going to buy the bottom, knowing that when I buy a stock, especially an MJ or crypto, a crypto asset or an MJ stock, it's probably going to go lower. And I'm going to save money on the sidelines. That's why I've been saying to people that I've been, shorting the S&P 500 as a hedge. I've been keeping a six-figure cash position to continue to dollar cost average, not going too hard into these names, and diversifying, not just owning one stock, not just one in Canada, but multiple producers in US and Canada, retailers, ETFs. And finally, people are starting to realize that this, like I said, is an industry problem. And that's because of the lack of clarity in the U.S. and we haven't had reform, and then all the taxation issues and things like that. The list goes on, right? We could have a list as long as Santa's, but it is what it is, and you can sit here and you can say, why me? Why did shoulda, coulda, woulda? Why me? Why did I do this? Why didn't I listen? Why didn't I just pick another investment? Why didn't I buy Nvidia, right? Which hit a new all-time high today. Well, Nvidia off the lows here is only up a couple $100%. Are you here for a couple $100%? Are you looking to invest $1,000 or $10,000 and make $20,000? Is that what you're here for? No, you're probably here for life-changing gains, right? Nvidia is a new all-time high, yes, but MJ stocks and crypto could give you 100x gains, right? $1,000 into $100,000. And again, not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. But these are the two most riskiest asset classes on the planet. Therefore, it is the most rewarding, right? So we'll get there. We just have to get through this period of turmoil and this brutal bear market that we've all been experiencing together. But again, flip your mindset. It's a buying opportunity, right? It's the medicine of the future. We're only 4 years young here in Canada. It's not even federally legal yet in the U.S. Germany's just coming online. Like, there's so much growth here, guys and girls. Like, it's easy to get caught up in the intraday and the day-to-day things. But yeah, we'll jump into today's content. So 476,566 views on the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. Almost 500,000 views. Never thought that day would come. And I appreciate everybody who's supported me along the way. And I do my best to bring this news to everybody because, at the end of the day, we're all here together. We're all retail investors. And I'm just a regular guy, just like each and every one of you, regular, retail investor. And I'm just trying to uncover the truth. I'm just trying to find the companies that are going to be here 5 to 10 years from now. And I'm not telling you what to do. Don't listen to me, right? Everybody's thinking, oh, you're advising people. People are listening to you what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I told you from the beginning of this channel, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. In fact, I don't want you to listen to me because I'm not a financial advisor. I was going to become a financial advisor. I worked for Invesco, right? QQQ, the ETF, that's an Invesco ETF. I worked for that company. I was going to become a financial advisor, and I realized it was stressful enough managing my own money that I didn't want to manage anybody else's. So that's the complete opposite of why I started this channel, is because I don't want to be a financial advisor. I don't want to recommend advice and things like that to other people because that's stressful. And at the end of the day, I don't need that extra stress on myself. And, you need to, and that's not, again, like, you need to learn how to do this for yourself. You need to know what you're investing in. If you're buying something because someone told you, I don't care if they're a financial advisor, they got certifications up the wazoo. At the end of the day, if you don't believe in that company, you're not going to hold it long term. So you need to do the research. You need to put in the man hours. There's no shortcuts to success in life. And quite frankly, that's the problem with people in today's society, is they want instant gratification. They want to be validated. They want to be they want to be rich yesterday. And that's not how things work. Look at Amazon, right? Amazon dropped 95% and look where it is today. Look at Apple, right? But how many people would have held on? You would never have held on just by listening to your financial advisor because you didn't know what you held. You didn't know what you were holding. If you knew what you were holding, if you did research in the internet and what the internet could potentially provide, same thing with crypto, same thing with MJ. MJ is the medicine of the future, folks. So regardless of what share prices say or what media articles are saying or what your friends or family are saying, this is the medicine of the future. This is the best, in my opinion, medicine out there. It's been tried and true for, centuries, and it's a part of our anatomy, right? We even have CBD and THC receptors in our body. So believe me, it's going to pass. The storm will pass, and we'll all have our day of reckoning. We'll all have our day of joy, and we'll all rejoice somewhere on a beach at some point, right? But there's going to be tough times. So anyways, I did a video earlier today. Tilray Brands, 150 million convertible note, down 20% after hours. So the great times continue in the MJ industry, right? We're just all having a blast over here. To be honest, I don't really mind, because like I said, I've just been waiting. I'm nibbling every time we drop to lower lows, slowly dollar cost averaging. I was down on some of my investments, 80%, 90% on some of my investments in MJ. Now I'm only down about 40, 50% on some of those names because I've been dollar cost averaging, right? And that adjusts as you dollar cost average. So if you haven't seen that video, check that out. But that is why we're seeing even more weakness after hours on Tilray, and that's just only going to provide more selling pressure and bearishness going into tomorrow. But here is the article and the lawsuit from CGC. So class action notice, Clancy and Pronge and Murray LLP files securities fraud lawsuit against Canopy Growth Corporation, and this was dated May 23rd. Again, if you were in the Power Group private community, you would have, if you're a member, you've already seen this. So apologize, but we'll go through it for anybody who doesn't already know. But that law firm announces that it has filed a class action lawsuit in the United States District Court of Southern District of New York on behalf of persons and entities that purchased an otherwise acquired Canopy Growth Corporation or the company CGC securities between May 31st, 2022 and May 10th, 2023. Investors are hereby notified that they have 60 days from the date of the notice to move to court to serve as lead plaintiff in this action. If you suffered a loss on your Canopy Growth investments or would like to inquire about potentially pursuing claims to recover your loss under the federal securities laws, you can submit your contact information at www.glancylaw.com/cases/canopy-growth canopy-growth-corporation-1. So again, you can just check out the Market Watch article if you want to get that phone number or the direct link there. But on May 10, 2023, after the market closed, Canopy Growth announced that its audited consolidated financial statements for the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2022, and the quarters ended June 30th, 2022 to September 30th, 2022, and December 31st, 2022 should no longer be relied upon. Woohoo, right? Great news. And would need to be restated. The company also disclosed that it identified certain trends in the booking of sales by the BioSteel Sports Nutrition Inc. business unit for further review. The company specified that although the BioSteel review remains ongoing, the company has preliminary identified material misstatements that the correction of the misstatements is expected to reduce certain revenues previously recognized. So obviously not good. On this news, Canopy Growth stock price fell 18 cents or 14.6% to close at 1.04 per share on May 11th, 2023 on unusually heavy trading volume. And if you haven't tuned in, CGC closed the day at 88 cents, well below $1. The complaint filed in this class action alleges that throughout the class period, defendants made materially false and or misleading statements as well as failed to disclose material adverse facts about the company's business, operations, and prospects. Specifically, defendants failed to disclose to investors that, one, that there were material weaknesses in the company's internal controls over accounting and financial reporting, two, that as a result, the company improperly booked sales of BioSteel business unit, and three, last but not least, second last, that as a result, the company revenue was overstated, and last but not least, number four, that was a result of the foregoing defendants' positive statements about the company's business, operations, and prospects were materially misleading and or lacked a reasonable basis. So, if Canopy Growth, right, Granddaddy Canopy, is at risk of a reverse split, surely everybody has to stop the hatred with regards to one company. This is the number one stock, right? Well, obviously Tilray is now. But this was at one point, and for the longest time, sought after the best stock in the MJ industry. And I saw so many people over the last couple of years saying, I'm just going to liquidate everything and buy CGC, right? And now look what's happening. We're seeing at risk of potentially doing a reverse split or getting delisted from the NASDAQ. I would say a reverse split is probably the most likely scenario. I would say it's pretty much inevitable based on, the thumbnail of this video. But just a wake-up call that it's not just one or two companies, right? It's not just producers, it's retailers, it's the whole shebang, right? And until we have safe banking, until we have uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ in the US, until we have rescheduling or even descheduling, until we have federal legalization in the US and around the globe, and until Canada reviews the MJ Act and gets rid of this ludicrous taxation that is literally destroying these companies, right? Unpaid MJ taxes pile up in the Canadian MJ companies. It is said that Canada's licensed MJ producers have 192.7 million as unpaid federal excise taxes for the fiscal year ended March 31st, as a rise over threefold from the 2021-2022 fiscal year, according to MJ Biz Daily. Canada's excise duty on dried MJ stands at $1 per gram, or 10% of the value of the gram, whichever is greater. For the 2021-2022 fiscal year, Canadian LPs owed $52.4 million to Canada Revenue Agency, CRA. The number of companies with unpaid excise debt is also rising. As of March 31st, 2023, 213 LPs, which we know there's over 1,000 now, which is just ludicrous again. We don't need that many LPs. There's no way there's going to be that many that stand the test of time, right? So that's the trick, finding the companies that are going to be here in 5 to 10 plus years from now. Or about 70% of the 305 licensees were required to pay up taxes, up from 141 and 68 as of March 2022 and 2021, respectively. This massive and accelerated growth of total excise owing, as well as total number of licensed producers, LPs, in arrears, is indicative of a sector-wide inability to survive under current excise tax policy. What did I just say? Right? This is not sustainable. This is inevitable, right? Companies are going to fail. It's just the way that right now the biggest beneficiary is the Canadian government of MJ legalization here in Canada. And that's the way they want it, right? The government's always going to get paid first. But now we're finally starting to realize that the industry needs to come together. We all need to come together. We all need to lock arms and come together and fight for what is right. And what is right is that these companies should not be paying 30 to 40% of their bottom line, right, to the government, right? Obviously, the government has to get paid. They have to get their portion. And they're going to get it first before anybody else, right? That's the guaranteed. But at the end of the day, this just can't go on, right? We need change. We need to contact our representatives, whether you're in Canada, the US, or abroad, and we need to fight for what is right. And this is not right. This can't happen, right? Just like the internet, just like crypto, laws were eventually governed and legislated into law that were in favor of the industry, that help the industry thrive and not only thrive, but innovate and bring value to investors. And this is just the current environment that we're in is just not going to bring any kind of value to anybody other than the government, right? And then, like Curaleaf said, Boris Jordan said that the executive chairman and founder said that Curaleaf has paid over $340 million in excise taxes to the U.S. government under 280E tax code. If it wasn't for that 280E tax code, Curaleaf would more than likely already be paying a dividend. So let that sink in, right? And think about that. If they had an extra $340 million on their bottom line, right, things would be drastically different. But like I said, we need to embrace volatility. This is opportunity. I know people are down. I'm down as well. But again, you can take your portfolio from being down 80% or 90%, and through dollar cost averaging, you can only be down 60% or 70%. Or if you're like me, I'm getting close to that 40% area, 40, 50%, because I saved enough cash to be able to dollar cost average. All right? And everybody's situation is different. That's why I'll never tell you what to do. I'll never tell you what to buy, sell, or hold. I'll never tell you what company to buy or not to buy. And all I'll do is I'll tell you what I'm doing, right? That's all I can legally do and ethically do is just tell you what I would do in your shoes, or literally just tell you what I'm doing, right? So that's what it is. But CGC was a weekly bear flag. So we had the high, low. So technical analysis was telling us, again, people will comment, oh, technical analysis is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's true to a certain extent. It doesn't always work, right? But would you rather have an edge? Would you rather know that this is a possibility that has an odds of, a bear flag has, 60% probability of playing out or 70% probability of playing out? Well, wouldn't you rather know that versus not knowing that, right? Like, give your head a shake. It's just an extra tool in your tool belt, right? There's fundamental analysis, there's technical analysis, there's, with crypto, there's on-chain analysis, there's all these different metrics that we can use. And value investing, right? Value investing doesn't care what the share price is. It has nothing to do with the share price. It has to do with the underlying, numbers of the profitability metrics and different, price to, P to E and like all these different metrics that we can use to value a company when the share price might not be so, inclined to do so. So right now we have a weekly bear flag that's confirming. We had the high, low, lower high, anything under this on this weekly bounce. When we finally started the weekly bounce, it was the first time in 16 weeks, so 112 days, first time we bounced. It was a lower high every single candle. So that was a nice opportunity to go long there, or just a quick scalp of about 13% there. Nice swing trade there, about 13% once we finally broke that. But anything under 185 USD, because this is on NASDAQ, was a weekly bear flag. Whoops. So anything under 185 on this weekly bounce was a weekly lower high, a weekly bear flag. And then once we lost 102, we confirmed the weekly downtrend. And that's why I said in the Pow Group private community yesterday that after this news came out with the lawsuit, I expected that we were probably going to drop. And then with Tilray announcing 150 million debt and dilution, that obviously sped up the bearish momentum, right? So once we lost 102, we confirmed the weekly bear flag. And right now you take the high to the low and you measure that out and you put it to the 0.32 fib. And it's saying we're targeting about 60 cents on CGC USD. So from here, we could still drop about another 30%. So don't be surprised if we drop, 20, 30% over the next couple of weeks, maybe even months. And we're still multiple months away, right? And look at CGC setting new all-time low here on the NASDAQ. It's a total wake-up call. For those of you that are tribalistic, or only following one stock or one MJ stock, one MJ producer or retailer, everything's getting completely destroyed right now, right? So it is what it is. Unfortunately, CGC on the weekly time frame has been saying that we've been very bearish. We had a stochastic MACD bear cross well below the 10-week moving average. Nothing to see here on the weekly moving averages, but in terms of the daily moving averages, we did kiss a death here on the 200-day moving average, rejected. Then, we just completely got destroyed, and we're still well below all of those daily moving averages. So we got a lot of work to do. We've got at least 3 or 4 months worth of work to do before we can be confident that a bottom is in on CGC or the rest of the industry. I would argue that it's very, very close. I mean, from the all-time high on the NASDAQ, we're now down over 98%, right? And I got a lot of slack for my Hexo videos saying, oh, I can't believe you're promoting Hexo. It's down 99% from its all-time high. Okay, yeah, it is down 99%. But CGC, Granddaddy CGC, is now at risk of a reverse split as well. And the poster child of the MJ industry for so long is now down 98.5%. So 98, 99. What one would you rather? You could flip a coin. They're both going to suck, right? So, people finally starting to realize, and it's so clear now because, like I said, on my videos from, pretty much forever now, feels like forever, why are you promoting LPs? Why are you covering LPs? They're garbage, right? There's nothing to see here. It's like, okay, well, where are they now, right? Where's the True Leaf gang, the Green Thumb gang, the Cure Leaf gang, the Cresco gang, right? True Leaf just hit a new all-time low today. Again, poster childs. Was it today? I guess not today. Got a bit of an inverse head and shoulders here, though, on the daily time frame. But yeah, new all-time low is 565. And then even the poster childs, right? True Leaf down almost 92%. So again, 92% or 98% or 99%. Is there really a whole big difference there? No, not really. If you put $100,000 into True Leaf, you're now down, 91%, right? You got like less than 10 grand. You put it $100,000 at the peak into CGC, you got like 2 grand, right? Not even. So again, it's still terrible. No matter how you spin it, let's stop beating each other down, right? How much time and how much, I just don't understand like why people get so, motivated to make other people feel like crap. Like at a time where we should be locking arms and doing what we can to make each other feel better and to realize that this isn't going to last forever. Prices aren't going to zero. MJ isn't going to zero. It's just getting started. It's not even federally legal in the U.S. There's so much time ahead of us, right? There's so much growth ahead of us. I haven't seen anything yet. Now's the time to build each other up and just drop the tribalism, drop the childish nature of, it's frustrating. But it is what it is. I'm glad I have the platform that I have, that I can come on here and call these people out, because this is the last thing we should be doing. We should be saying, hey brother, hey sister, now's the time where, things are bleak, yes, but eventually there'll come a time where things will turn around. Just like, Ethereum, right? We can bring up some examples of crypto, and I know some MJ people are cringing right now. Oh, he's bringing up crypto. What does he know, right? But we were down 82% on Ethereum. Litecoin, right? And again, the only reason why I'm comparing this is because they're the two most riskiest asset classes on the planet. Litecoin was down 95% from its all-time high, and now we're finally starting to recover. Dogecoin, right? Everybody knows Dogecoin. Look at the monster move that thing had, right? In 2018, it dropped 95%, and then it went on to make 650x. So $1,000 investment there at the low would turn into almost $1 million, right? So MJ is going to offer the same volatility, but it might not offer the same valuation or market cap, but it should offer similar type of gains, right? And then you might be thinking, oh, this guy's crazy because he's bringing up crypto. Okay, well, if you're in that camp, let's bring up Netflix. Netflix in 6 months from its all-time high dropped down almost 80%. And this is a multi-billion-dollar, $100 billion company, multiple $100 billion company. Didn't check the actual valuation, but down almost 80% in half a year, right? So if it can happen to Netflix, and this is an established company, it can happen to anything. And we're talking about an industry that's still federally illegal in the U.S. and still death penalty in some parts of the world, right? Netflix, you do not get, you go to Singapore, and you got Netflix on your phone, and the government finds out, do you get the death penalty? No. There was a guy who was found trafficking, I think, 2 pounds of MJ in Singapore not too long ago. I think it was like a couple weeks ago. Death penalty. Died. Killed. Gone. Erased from the planet. How can you compare the two? You can't. you just can't. And people will be like, oh, well, that's why you shouldn't invest in MJ, because that's the line that you need to draw. It's like, no, that just shows that the growth potential is here, and we're going to like here, right? Like off the screen, right? So again, it's just common sense. Things always seem like they're never going to recover, that they're going to zero, and it's going to be multiple years. It's going to be 5-10 years before we see any gains. Well, I don't believe that. I think it's going to be a lot sooner than people think. Might be 6 months, might be a year, who knows? Could be longer than that. But as we know, there's multiple catalysts that we're looking at. We've got the least to biggest. We've got MJ Act being reviewed here in Canada. There's a current consultation period going on with regards to product labeling, packaging, taxation, all that stuff, which is very important. Then 2, we've got the safe banking, which could potentially gain traction. We'll see. There could be a vote here in the Senate in the not too distant future, maybe a couple months. We'll see. Maybe even into the fall. Fall is usually a very good period as well, leading into the election. You got the elections coming up where they could utilize, pro MJ for, voting purposes to gain votes, right? So that's another thing, cyclical seasonality effect. And then we have the HHS revision of the schedule. So could be rescheduled, could be descheduled, probably going to be on the same level playing field as alcohol, in my opinion. Alcohol is poison. MJ's medicine, in my opinion, should be on a higher scale than alcohol. We should treat alcohol worse than MJ because MJ actually has medicinal benefits to it. Alcohol, maybe a couple benefits, but nowhere near as much as MJ. So anyways, I digress. Going to jump into the chat here. What a bad day for MJ. Yep. No, that's an understatement. As I mentioned, probably Tilray will get the reverse split too. Well, based on the title and the thumbnail of this video, it's looking like that could happen. The timer has started, and it could happen. Definitely could happen. But yeah, a reverse split would be. They're not going to get delisted from the NASDAQ. I mean, they do have Canopy USA, though, the entity in the U.S. now. And if we don't see U.S. legalization in the next few years, that's a possibility. They could delist from the NASDAQ and then enter the U.S. market. Who knows, right? Anything's possible. That's why we got to prepare for all scenarios, right? Not put all your eggs in one basket, diversify, not put all your money that you have. Don't stretch yourself too thin. Don't put all your money that you have to your name into MJ now or 6 months ago or a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, right? Like save money for if things continue to get worse. You're like, oh, great. I can make something positive of a negative situation. Yes, this sucks. The prices are going down, but it's a positive thing that I saved money for a rainy day and I can buy and dollar cost average and lower my average dramatically, right? You can sit here and you can say, blame him, blame them, blame Canopy, blame Tilray, blame Hexo, blame Rod, blame content creators, blame whoever. How about you blame yourself, right? You are the one who hit the buy button. You are the one who made this decision, right? I take accountability. I take responsibility. I don't blame these companies. Yes, there's a lawsuit. If you want to join the lawsuit and go down that route, then by all means. But at the end of the day, we need to take accountability, responsibility, and be adults, right? That's what matters. So, Nunes Sneeze says, doubtful. I don't know. I like I said, it wouldn't be the first, and it certainly won't be the last to do a reverse split. There's been pretty much, I would say, 30 or 40% of the industry has done reverse splits, maybe even 2 or 3 of them. So yeah, the fact that Canopy is at risk and this lawsuit's going on and there's no end in sight right now in the bear market, anything's possible. What up? Tilray is in a much better position than CGC. Yeah, but again, Tilray just announced that $150 million convertible note offering. It was down more than that. It was down 20% after hours. And it's at a new all-time low as well. And pretty soon, Tilray won't be long away from being under $1 as well. So, again, we can all say it'll never happen. This company's in a better position than this company. But the fact of the matter is the trend is there. The trend is new all-time lows, 52-week lows, new all-time lows, and reverse splits. That is the trend. And until we get MJ Act reviewed here in Canada, safe banking, uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ for the U.S. operators, or HHS, legalization of medical, rescheduling, descheduling, federal legalization on the U.S. level, I don't think we're going to get out of this bear market. I think it's going to be one of those 3 things that really, or, some big company getting into the space. But again, I can't see that happening until we have clarity, right? You're not going to see the Coca-Cola enter or, any of these Mandelas, like any of these like big corporations before they have absolute clarity, right? And they have shareholders to adhere to as well. Hello, Rod. Thank you as always. But brother, I got screwed in Hexo. I'm not saying because of you. Please don't take me wrong now. Tilray and CJ, what's next? Cureleaf. Yeah, so Cureleaf, that's another name I'm bullish on. But, again, it doesn't matter if it's, and I feel you. I empathize. It sucks that, people are down, but it is what it is. Again, you can change your mindset. You can be glass half empty or glass half full. And I choose to be half full and say, okay, look at these absolute rock bottom prices. I can buy CGC under $1. That's going to lower my cost basis by, insane amount, right? And again, I only had like a couple $1,000 invested into Canopy. So, I could easily throw another $1,000 or $2,000 into that stock. And again, my cost basis goes down dramatically, right? So again, yeah, Cureleaf could be like Cureleaf is down 90%, 80 to 90%, if not more, from its all-time high. Out of effort of time, I'll just continue on. But yeah, Cureleaf could be next. Like I said, Trulieve hit a new all-time low the other day, and yeah, this is just par for the course. So again, we can sit here and we bite our fingers and we can be anxious or whatever. At the end of the day, just expect things to go down more. And then what's the worst that can happen, right? Have a plan for things going down, have a plan for things going like this, and have a plan for things going like this. You can go down, sideways, or up. Have a plan for all, and there's no need to be, anxious or stressed or panicked or whatever the word is. MJ ETF stock, take me to the moon. it's going to be a while before any ETF goes to the moon because, like I said, individual names are dropping to all-time lows, and ETFs consist of several MJ stocks. So while the most 80 to 90% are down 80 to 90% from their all-time high plus, and hitting new all-time lows is going to be a while before you see an ETF. You'd have a better chance seeing individual names like TAT, what was it? AYR had a nice move there. Cresco even had a nice move there after earnings. So you know individual names will pump, but ETFs are going to be a while. You'll be waiting at least 6 months, probably, maybe a year before we see any dramatic increase, in my opinion. Hexo getting acquired by Tilray, ACB, and OGI will most preferably reverse split. Tilray got slammed today. Now it's CGC's turn. I wonder who is next. Yeah, exactly. BFF is another one, I think. But again, Canadian companies get the brunt of the slack because they're the ones on the NYSE and the NASDAQ, right? No one's talking about delisting of Cureleaf and Trulieve and all that because they're not on the NYSE and the NASDAQ. But when they do, they're probably going to have similar problems, right? And before they get uplisted, there's probably going to be a huge run-up. And then after they get uplisted, there'll be a major crash, more than likely, right? Because sell the news type of an event. And then they'll be at risk of delisting or reverse splits. And then probably the same thing will happen over again, right? But again, Canadian companies just get the crap end of the stick because they're the only ones on those exchanges. So, you know, they're the only ones with the requirements. So it's funny because, you know, people don't look past their own nose at sometimes. What do you say is right time to add SPXS or wait? Thank you. Yeah, so I basically mentioned it a while ago. You know, just continuing to dollar cost average into that one as well. Yeah, maybe I'll do another video on that one because we're getting a little long here, but I do have to go. But maybe I'll do a SPXS and SPY video again. I would say when Congress gets banned from potentially owning stocks, that it would be a good time to go into SPXS. Or if we were to drop to a lower low, lose 400. Yeah, but right now the S&P 500 is targeting 439, SPY specifically, the ETF, with a weekly bull flag. So as long as 403 holds, then we should be good, and we should see continuation. But this debt ceiling tomorrow is going to be interesting as well. Yeah, we'll see. Could see some panic. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a pretty big dip in the short to medium term on the broader market and in crypto, and then you know, obviously MJ probably, and then into the end of the year, I think we should see a massive rally. And then, like I said, Congress getting banned from owning stocks. There's already a bill going through Congress right now to do that. And then the Federal Reserve banned their employees from owning stocks at the peak of the last bull market. So where do you think they're going to want to ban Congress, right? Probably at the peak of the next one, right? They're not going to do it at the bottom, right? Because they're borderline criminals. True, buying more. Yes, future is promising. Absolutely. It's cool, dude. No worries. Don't worry, bro. You're doing good. God's work. Thank you. I appreciate it. We have a percentage of THC in our brain, by the way. Yeah, that's awesome, eh? I'm down 40%. Well, consider yourself lucky because a lot of people are down 90+%. Funny if Tilray buys CGC after reverse split down the line. Yeah. Like I said, anything's possible. I wouldn't put money on that, but what do you guys think about MJ ETF? I think it's a good ETF. Like I said, MJ, you got HMMJ, you got MSOS, right? There's a bunch of different ones. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. What do you think about CGC and Tilray in the near term? Thanks. Yeah, like I said, CGC does have a bear flag. It's targeting about 60 cents. And Tilray, I'd be watching 175. I just did a video on Tilray as well. You can check that out. But Tilray is being exposed also, absolutely. Would it be dumb to sell some CGC stock and save that to buy CGC at a lower cost? I would say the time would have been when we had that weekly bear flag, when we started that weekly bounce and then confirmed the weekly bear flag. That would have been a good idea to reload cheaper. But generally speaking, like when we're down 98%, you probably don't want to be buying or selling to buy lower, right? When we're up 98%, right, is where you want to sell and rebuy lower, right? You wanted to sell when, like, RSI. If you don't know what RSI is, right, just bring up CGC, go here, add an indicator, and then add RSI, relative strength index. Sorry, that's not the indicator, but go to indicator, add RSI, at relative strength index. This is this metric right here. You want to sell, and again, not financial advice, but you generally, when we're up here is when you want to sell and rebuy cheaper. When we're down here, you don't want to sell and rebuy cheaper because we're basically near the bottom, and it's saying that we're oversold and that we're probably going to be heading up to overbought again, right? And this is on the monthly time frame. So if we're monthly overbought, that, imagine if you just got out here, you'd have been, 99% ahead of most of the world, right? And now that we're close to monthly oversold, now's not the time, in my opinion, where you'd want to do that. There's more risk with that than doing it, right? So like here, when we were monthly overbought, any time in here when we were above 70 is overbought. So any time in this period here, you could have sold here and you would have won, right? So that's what I would say for that. What do you think about Tilray tomorrow? We'll see. There could be a decent discount with regards to Hexo arbitrage opportunity, but yeah, we could go as low as 175. I wouldn't see us going any lower than 175 on Tilray, at least in the interim, short term here, and then maybe 150. But I would say that we'll more than likely recover into market open tomorrow. A lot's going to really ride on the debt ceiling too, right? If we get some news with regards to that, that could spell even more weakness for MJ, unfortunately. So a lot of the broader market economic data will and events, right, will play a factor tomorrow. OGI compliance with the NASDAQ until July 24th and ACB compliance until September 20th. Exactly. So again, not just one or two companies. It's the whole industry. Basically, any MJ company on the NASDAQ or the NYSE has had this problem, right? And it's Canadian because they're the only ones permitted to do so. MJ for the dividend. Yeah, like I said, Curaleaf would have already been paying a dividend, they said, more than likely if it wasn't for 280 tax code. So pretty crazy. Is Tilray buying Village Farms? It's possible. We'll see. Tilray is looking to get into other avenues, so, vegetables and things like that. I don't know. Trying to be all things to everybody, though, I don't know how good that business plan is. I think they should just focus on what they have now. I think they got their hands in enough departments now that they can just focus on profitability until the U.S. legalizes, and then it's just sky's the limit, right? How can I get on your Discord? All I play is MJ stocks. Thanks. So I don't have a Discord. I have it's called Slack. So I use Slack. But if you just go to powgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com, you can sign up there. You can also email me. My email's on there. If you want to do a free trial, let me know. But yeah, if you want to join, there's a monthly subscription. There's an annual subscription to save you a little bit as well. Or you can do the VIP option, which is a little bit different. But yeah, check out the website if you want to see more information on that. But appreciate it. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining the live stream. Thanks for all your contributions and comments. As always, appreciate each and every one of you. Going to end it there, though. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. Like I said, times are tough, but there will be a time where, we'll see light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, it's like the tunnel is, there was an earthquake and we got trapped inside. And it seems like we'll never get out. But I am very confident in the fact that we'll eventually all get to the other side, and grass is greener on the other side. No pun intended. Thanks again, brother. By the way, I subscribed as soon as I saw your interview with CEO and CFO of Hexo. Great work on that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was definitely an awesome time, an awesome feeling, and something been tracking them from since August 2020, and obviously Hexo had some problems. They're not all, they're my favorite MJ products in the industry, but yeah, there's been bad things with Hexo. There's been good things with Hexo. But same could be said about any MJ company, right? So, but I appreciate that very much. Thanks, Rod. Good luck, everyone. Absolutely. Thanks so much, everyone. Bought more Tilray tonight. Very nice. I'll probably be adding more tomorrow. I like the day trade. Can you give me a level to buy and sell if I join? Yeah, I can. Like I said, I can't tell you what to do, but I can give you some trade ideas for sure. Yep. There's a nice trade opportunity on MSOS. There was one on CGC, like I said, with that weekly bounce starting, about 12% there, nice swing trade there. And then you could have set your stop underneath, like I said, the 103 level. That would have been confirming the weekly bear flag. So you would have a nice stop level to go off of, $1 psychological as well. And then, like I said, that weekly bounce starting after 16 weeks of lower highs, that was a nice opportunity. Pretty much MJ, MSOS, and Tilray is all I play. Yep, absolutely. So those are definitely ones we cover a lot. So, all right, going to end it there. Thanks again. You're welcome. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you on the next video. Take care.